All right, let's talk about something you've probably heard of if you work with apprentices, the prevent duty. I know, it's a term that can sound a little heavy, a bit intimidating. But what does it really mean for you, day to day? Well, today, we're going to cut through all that noise and get right to the heart of it. Because honestly, it's about something you already know and do so well: safeguarding. So, let's just start with a quick gut check. When I say the word prevent, what's the first image that pops into your head? Seriously, just take a second. What's your immediate reaction? Okay, I'm gonna guess it was something along these lines, right? Extremist groups, police, maybe some kind of dramatic, high-stakes situation. If so, you are definitely not alone. That's what most people think of, and let's be real, it can feel a million miles away from the everyday work of training and mentoring. But here's the thing. The truth is, the prevent duty has so much less to do with counterterrorism and so much more to do with something you're already experts in. We're talking about pastoral care. It's about human connection.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The work of prevent is far more subtle and way more human than the name suggests. At its core, it's really about noticing when someone might be struggling, when they might be vulnerable. It's about being curious, and it's about being supportive.
So let's just bust some myth right here. The myth that prevent is about spying on people, shutting down tricky conversations, or getting the police involved. The reality, it is about safeguarding vulnerable people from harm. It's about encouraging healthy discussion, and, this is the most important part, offering supportive help at the earliest possible stage. It's a safeguarding function, plain and simple.
Okay, so we've established that this is all about safeguarding. Now, let's dig into the why. Why is this so crucial specifically for apprentices? Well, to answer that, we really need to understand the unique pressures that can make an apprentice vulnerable in the first place.
I mean, think about it. An apprentice is trying to navigate so many different worlds at once. The workplace, their training, their social life. They could be feeling lonely or really struggling to fit in with a brand new team. They might be dealing with financial stress for the very first time or feeling homesick. So often, they just feel like no one really gets what they're going through. All of these are real points of vulnerability.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. Radicalization almost never starts with ideology. It usually starts with a really basic, unmet emotional need. A need to belong somewhere, a need for purpose, a need for a clear identity. And when those fundamental human needs aren't being met, that's when someone can become susceptible to groups or online narratives that promise to fill that emptiness.
So, if it's all about vulnerability, what should you actually be looking for? This next part is all about the what. The subtle, observable signs that might just hint that an apprentice could use a little extra support.
Now, it is so important to say that these signs are not proof of anything, not at all. They're just indicators, invitations to be curious. You might notice a change in someone's behavior. Maybe they've become really withdrawn or are just acting totally out of character. You might hear a shift in their language, more us versus them talk, a lot of black and white thinking. Or you might become aware of what they're doing online. The key here is to think of these as prompts to check in, not reasons to accuse.
Let's make this a bit more concrete. Let's walk through a few scenarios. First up, picture an 18-year-old apprentice. He's working in a massive warehouse, he's new to the area, living in a shared house, and he feels completely and utterly isolated. So he spends all his free time online and starts getting drawn into these echo chambers that offer really simple, certain answers to life's big, messy questions. Then, in your sessions with him, you start to notice his views are becoming more and more rigid. That shift from normal uncertainty to this new, worrying, black and white certainty, that's a classic sign, and it's often fueled by online influences. Okay, here's another one. Think about a 23-year-old apprentice. She's from overseas, and she is really struggling to connect with her new team at work. She feels like an outsider.
So she finds an online mentor who seems to just get her, offering a sense of cultural belonging that she's craving. But slowly but surely, that support gets mixed in with an extremist worldview, isolating her even more from the people around her. You see how that works? The grooming starts with comfort, but it ends with control.
And listen, this is not just about young apprentices. Let's imagine a mature apprentice, maybe in his 40s, who feels like he's being treated really unfairly at work. He's angry. That anger, that feeling of injustice, makes him a prime target. He starts getting pulled into online content that validates his anger and starts to suggest that extreme, maybe even violent actions are a totally justifiable response. His whole demeanor changes. He becomes more argumentative, more reactive. That behavioral shift, that's the signal.
Okay, we have covered the why and the what. Now we get to the most important part, the how. What is your practical role in all of this? What do you actually do?
Well, it's a simple three-step process you probably already know from your other safeguarding training. First, you notice. You notice a change. You don't have to diagnose it, you just notice something feels a bit off. Second, you start a conversation. And this is not a confrontation, it's just a supportive check-in. A simple, hey, how are things going is often the perfect opener. And finally, you refer. You pass on your concern, no matter how small you think it is, to your designated safeguarding lead. That's it. Your job is not to investigate. It's to notice and to refer. Now, if a referral does go forward, an apprentice might be offered support through a program called Channel. It's so important that you understand this. Channel is completely voluntary and it's supportive. It is not a criminal process. It's a program designed to help people build up their resilience and their critical thinking skills to protect them from harmful influences.
So, what's the foundation for all of this? What is the single most powerful preventative tool that you have at your disposal? Well, it's the culture that you build every single day.
The strongest defense you could ever build is a culture of trust and support. It's an environment where your apprentices feel seen, where they feel heard, and where they feel valued for who they are. Because when people feel genuinely connected, they are so much more resilient to the pull of ideologies that try to isolate them.
And let's just end with this thought, because if you take away one thing, please let it be this. Nobody is asking you to be a counterterrorism expert. Nobody expects you to have all the answers. Your role in the prevent duty, when you boil it all down, is one simple, powerful action: to care. To care enough to notice, and to care enough to act when something just doesn't feel right.
So I'll leave you with this question. What is one small, practical thing you can do this week to help your apprentices feel just a little more connected, a little more valued, a little more understood? Because that right there, that is where real safeguarding begins. And that is what the prevent duty is truly all about.